Hi, I'm Michael McJunkin here, and today I'm going to be reading aloud another storybook from the Pixar storybook collection. Today's story I'll be reading is the story that sums up the movie Soul. Are you ready? Here we go. Disney and Pixar's Soul. Joe Gardner fought the urge to cover his ears. His middle school band students were playing a basic jazz number, but they couldn't keep up, keep time, or keep still. That same day, Joe learned that his part-time job of teaching had been made full-time, but Joe's dream was to play jazz. He believed it was what he was born to do, his true purpose. Later that day, Joe's phone rang. It was Curly Baker, one of Joe's former students. He told Joe about an audition for the Dorothea Williams Quartet. Joe hurried to the legendary jazz club, the Half Note, to audition with the quartet. When it was time for his solo, Joe closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and let the music flow. Afterward, Joe saw that everyone had stopped to listen. Dorothea Williams smiled and said, "Get a suit, Teach. A good suit. Back here tonight. First show's at 9. Sound checks at 7. We'll see how you do." Joe walked for the city, chatting on his cell phone. "I got the gig!" Just then, Joe saw a motorcycle headed right for him. He stepped out of the way and fell right into an open manhole. Joe's fall landed him on a moving sidewalk, heading for a bright light in the distance. It was the great beyond. He turned and ran away from the light. Joe ripped through the barrier and started falling again. And past the titles. Then Joe landed in a beautiful bright meadow. A counselor named Jerry appeared and welcomed Joe to the U seminar. Jerry thought Joe was a lost mentor, a soul who had lived in an amazing and inspiring life. Mentors helped new souls find their spark and earn their Earth Pass. Getting an Earth Pass would be Joe's ticket home. Meanwhile, high above the moving sidewalk, the U seminar's accountant, Terry, counted the souls as they passed. "There's a soul missing," she said. "The count's off." The counselors assigned Joe a troublesome soul known as 22. She had already been through hundreds of mentors, but Joe was unlike the others. He wanted to go back to Earth. The young soul couldn't believe it. She agreed to give him her Earth Pass as soon as they find her spark. The pair made their way to the Hall of Everything, but nothing inspired 22. She tried lots of professions, but still no spark and no Earth Pass. She took Joe to the astral plane and introduced him to a crew of quirky characters, the Mystics. They helped Joe open a portal to Earth. Joe closed his eyes, focusing on his body on Earth. Joe could see himself lying in a hospital bed, a therapy cat curled up in his lap. Joe was ready to jump through, but Moonwind was worried. No, Joe, don't rush this. It's not the right time," the Mystic said. Joe jumped anyway, accidentally knocking 22 into the portal with him. A moment later, Joe cautiously opened his eyes. The good news was that he was in a body. The bad news, he was in the wrong body. No, I'm in the cat! Wait a minute, if I'm in here, then who? Joe looked at his body and realized 22 was in there. She was horrified. "I'm in a body! No!" Joe did his best to stay calm. This was all Moonwind's fault. He decided. "Okay," Joe said. "Gotta find Moonwind. He can fix this." After escaping the hospital, Joe and 22 ended up in the streets of New York. The two soon found Moonwind spinning his sign at an intersection. The Mystic promised he would get Joe back into his body. "See you at the Half Note at 6:30. I'll take care of everything," Moonwind said. Once they got to Joe's apartment, there was a knock on the door. It was Connie from Joe's music class. She told Joe she wanted to quit the trombone. But when Connie played, it was clear she loved music. Inside Joe's body, 22 was feeling something she'd never felt before. Inspired. "I'll help you," 22 said. "But I Want to try a few things while we're here. If Connie can find something she loves, maybe I can too. Later, an unexpected gust of wind knocked Joe's hat off. As 22 bent over to grab it, Joe's pants ripped at the seam. There was only one place where they could get the pants fixed in a hurry: Joe's mom's tailor shop. For the first time, Joe was ready to tell his mom, Liba, exactly what his dream meant to him. He leaned in and told 22 just what to say. Look, if I'm doing what I love, no matter how hard it is, I'll be fine. Liba listened and smiled. Then she opened the closet and pulled out a surprise: Joe's dad's suit. As Joe and 22 waited for Moonwind outside the half note, 22 watched a maple seed slowly spin to the ground. Maybe she hadn't found her spark in the Hall of Everything, because her spark was walking or sky watching. Joe didn't think those were real purposes. He told her she would have to keep trying to find her purpose when she got back to the U seminar. Upset, 22 ran down the street and ducked to the subway station. Joe was right behind her, meowing furiously. Then out of nowhere, Terry appeared. A portal scooped up toward Joe and 22, and their souls returned to the U seminar. Suddenly, the counselors began congratulating 22. She had earned her Earth Pass, but the young soul still had no idea what her spark was. She handed Joe her Earth Pass. I filled in because I was in your body, hope being you. It's your spark that changed it, not mine, 22 said. She slipped away, leaving Joe alone at the portal's edge. Joe was upset, but he needed to get back to Earth. Music was his purpose. It was what he meant to do. Joe took the Earth Pass and jumped into the portal. Back on Earth, Joe sat at the half-note piano as the Arthea Williams quartet took the stage. He played perfectly, but later, after the show, Joe felt unfulfilled. He went home and played his piano. As he played more intently, he closed his eyes and entered the zone. Then, when he opened his eyes, he was back in the astral plane. Moonwind was waiting for Joe. Something was wrong. 22 wasn't herself. She had become a lost soul, angry and destructive. The enraged soul rampaged through the U seminar. No one could stop her. No, wait, 22! I was wrong! Joe apologized, promising 22 that she was ready for Earth. But 22 couldn't hear him. In a last desperate attempt, Joe reached out and placed a maple seed in 22's hand, a reminder of her love for Earth. Joe gave 22 back her Earth Pass and walked her to the edge of the Earth portal. She and Joe leapt into the portal, and 22's Earth Pass began to glow. He smiled reassuringly as he let go of his hand, and Joe returned once more to the great beyond. Joe was back on the moving sidewalk when Counselor Jerry stopped him. Joe had inspired all the counselors, and they had a special gift for him, as an Earth portal materialized beside the sidewalk. So Joe took the one more fateful step, unaware of what may lay ahead, but prepared to appreciate each and every moment of his wonderful life. The end. Well, hope you enjoyed this Read Aloud video, and hope you look forward to seeing more for next month, and I'll see you guys next time. See you then.